So this is my African violet I've had for almost 2 years now, and I had the problem where it wasn't reblooming, but I did my research and I found out what I was doing wrong. So first of all, I need four things in order to rebloom, and that is repotting, light, fertilizer, and humidity. So after I gave mine all those four things, it set a lot of buds. So there's plenty of clusters with some open blooms, as you can see, and there's some new clusters constantly coming up the middle. So I'm going to have plenty of blooms. For repotting, I got a terracotta pot that was the same size as the plastic one it came in because they like to be root bound, so make sure you're getting a small pot. And yeah, so they need to be root bound in order to rebloom. And you can get clay or plastic, sorry, it doesn't really matter as long as it's a nice small pot. And make sure you're using an African violet specific fertilizer. I'm sorry, soil. I got this one, it's by Miracle Grow, but you can get any brand. And you can also mix your own, but I just like to buy it in the bag so that I know it's especially meant for them. And what this has is it's pH adjusted to what they like. It has special fertilizer for them, and it's also fluffier because regular potting mixes are generally too heavy for them. And so after I repotted it, I noticed all this new growth. So it really just needed like some fresh soil. And when I unpotted it, it had like hardly any roots, but I saw some coming out the drainage hole. So that shows it has established in its new pot. And now for lighting, I just put it in this backyard kitchen window, and although I noticed all these new shiny leaves coming out, so that was a good sign. And now they're starting to get like ruffled and scalloped along the edges, so they're starting to get some character to them, which is really good. And it also formed a nice rosette, because when you usually buy them, the leaves are just like coming out kind of randomly. So that was a really good sign. And yeah, so they need 12 hours of light in order to rebloom. I don't know how much mine is getting, but it definitely is getting enough. It receives 2 hours of direct sun a day, but in the summer I'm probably going to move it somewhere else because the sun will be too intense. Because people usually say they don't like direct sun, but I think they can handle a little, but if it's too much, you'll start to notice the leaves are burning. But so far, my leaves are good. And next is fertilizer. So this is my fertilizer. It just says to add 7 drops a liter. And make sure you get African Violet specific fertilizer because they like their own. And yeah, so every single time I water, I just add 7 drops because I use a liter. And I apply it to the top of the soil because usually you water them from the bottom up, but this fertilizer says to water from the top down, so I do that, but you have to make sure not to get any on the leaves or the stems because they will definitely rot. And for humidity, I just took a Ferrero Rocher container and I turned the things that hold the chocolates upside down, and I just fill in between these things with water, and as it evaporates, it provides humidity to the African Violet, and they really like high humidity. I read 80%, and I don't really measure, but yeah, pretty sure it's getting enough. And you can use pebbles too, just any tray without holes, and the pebbles and these things are just to elevate the pots so that they don't soak up any water. And you want to make sure the water level is underneath the pebbles, because then yeah, the pot will soak up some water and rot your roots. And so I used fish pebbles in this tray, and it's for my other plants which are also doing well. So make sure you're giving your African Violet some humidity by a humidity tray because they do not like humidifiers. The water droplets will rot their leaves. So make sure you're giving yours proper humidity and it will throw out all these lush leaves. So repot your African Violet, put it in a bright position fertilizer every single time you water and provide it with some humidity, and you will be rewarded with lots of blooms.